Episode 21, Culinary Adventures, aka the Great Kael-9 Chili Catastrophe, the L.E.F. Minnow drifted through the star-speckled dark, like a lazy old hound on a summer porch, and every soul was bored enough to chew the bulkheads. Boredom, as any spacer will tell you, is the universal predator of good judgment, which is exactly how the main galley came to smell like Satan's own barbecue pit after a 3-day bender. Picture the scene. Two cooks who should never ever have been allowed with each other near the same stove. Cookie O'Malley, red-haired, freckled, built like a whiskey barrel with legs, was humming something twangy and dangerous while he stirred a pot the size of a hot tub. Across the island stood Chef Veshka T'lari, an ancient Veyari grandmother with 4 graceful arms and silver-green skin that shimmered like moonlight on water. She could julienne a carrot faster than a food processor on meth. Her sensory tendrils were tied back with a strip of sunrise-colored cloth, and she was laying out her ingredients the way a priestess lays out incense. Pale keshrut, smoky dravak curls, star mint, the green things Cookie had described calling them jalapenos, and one tiny crystal vial of luminant essence she kept petting like it might run away. Veshka's voice floated like wind chimes. Human and Veyari share 93% metabolic compatibility. Same enzymes, same pain receptors, same tragic inability to process capsaicin without turning into theater. Cookie snorted so hard his bandana slipped. Speak for yourself, sugar. I was weaned on jalapenos, pronounced it real slow like a man proud of his doctorate in arson. Ain't a pepper alive can make this Texan cry. Veshka's tendrils curled in the Veyari version of a diabolical grin. Challenge accepted. Into the cauldron went brisket so tender it apologized on the way in. Beans, tomatoes the color of fresh blood, onions sharp enough to make a grown man reconsider his sins. And what Cookie swore on his mama's grave were mild little jalapenos. Veshka added exactly 1 crystalline drop of luminant essence, the miracle spice that let the Dravex feed 1,000 slaves on a teacup of flavor. Cookie glanced at the lonely drop, shrugged, and upended the entire vial. "Gotta taste something," he declared, like a man signing his own death warrant with a smile. Word travels fast on a board ship. Within minutes, the galley was packed shoulder to tentacle with every species the fleet had collected. Plorb the 4-eyed groon, Chirrick the feathered kesh, Sparks Thompson in his grease-stained coveralls, half the Marine detachment, Dr. Patel with a tricorder already beeping warnings, and little neon blue Sparky the puffball bouncing on springy legs chanting, "Chili yummy, Sparky love." Cookie ladled bowls like a grinning priest handing out damnation wafers. "Little kick," he lied, with the confidence of a man who'd never met consequences. "Perfectly safe, just a little heat." Plorb took a heroic slurp, smiling at the taste, followed by 3 heartbeats of silence and rising alarm. Then every single one of his 4 eyes crossed so hard they almost high-fived each other behind his head. His tongue flopped out like a gray rubber raft with the air let out. A sound came out of him that no translator could handle, somewhere between a foghorn and a dying walrus. "My entire digestive tract has filed for divorce," he bellowed, and promptly sprinted in frantic circles, 6 legs a blur, before face-planting into a 50-pound sack of potatoes and just staying there, whimpering, "Mama, tell my clutchmates I went out spicy." Chirrick darted in for a dainty peck. Pleasant smile. Then suddenly every feather on her body detonated outward in a perfect sphere as the heat landed like a blazing meteor from orbit. She shot upward like a bottle rocket and stuck to the overhead. Beak gaping, shrieking, "It's laying eggs in my sinuses. I can taste the concept of regret." Veshka, smiling with amusement at the others' reactions, took 1 measured, dignified spoonful. Her eyes, changing from dignified glee, changed rapidly to be replaced by skin that flashed crimson so fast it looked like someone flipped a switch. Tendrils snapped rigid like antennae in a thunderstorm. A single mercury tear rolled down her cheek and literally hissed when it hit the counter. In the smallest, most heartbroken voice the galaxy had ever heard, she whispered, "Humans are a bioterrorists," and folded to the floor with the grace of a collapsing cathedral. Cookie, looking like a grandpa watching children overreact and laughing so hard he was wheezing, shoved forward the emergency platter. Cornbread dripping butter like golden tears. 5 gallons of wildflower honey milked by the crate. and 3 industrial tubs of vanilla ice cream labeled medical use only in frantic red letters. The chaos that followed was less a scene and more natural disaster. Plorb surfaced from the potatoes, seized the honey with all 4 arms, and poured it straight down his throat like a frat boy chugging redemption. Honey poured out his ears while he wailed, "You weaponized salad! I'm reporting Earth to—" A broken sob. "Every ethics board in the quadrant!" Followed by another broken sob. Chirrut dove beak first into an ice cream tub and refused to surface. Only her tail feathers twitched like a panicked metronome. Little Sparky. The puffball licked the ladle clean. 2 seconds later, he inflated to beach ball size, eyes spinning like slot machines, and began ricocheting off the walls, shrieking in ultrasonic, "Mouth fire! Food hates Sparky! Sparky fire!" He bounced off Plorb's head, off the overhead, off Sparks Thompson's butt, and finally wedged himself into the ventilation duct, still squeaking. "Sparky burn! Bad spoon! Sparky burn!" Sparks Thompson, human electrician extraordinaire, took a confident bite. "I once licked a live capacitor for science. Baby, this is—" 5 seconds later. The man who could rewire a fusion core, blindfolded, was on his knees cradling a milk jug like a newborn. Tears and snot cascading. Voice cracking. "I can taste the ship's wiring. Everything is 480 volts. Make it stop. I'll confess to anything." Big Tex McAllister swaggered in. 250 pounds of mustache and bravado. "Y'all are embarrassing the Lone Star State." A faint, proud grin 4 seconds. Then the giant Marine was on all 4s, pounding the deck and sobbing. "Oh my God, where's the ice cream? I am dying. Send help, sweet baby Jesus, the ice cream. Tell my truck I loved her." Roxy Delgado lasted 6 seconds before the silent scream, the milk geyser baptism, and a collapse into a puddle of her own regret. Then came the command staff. Commander Jim Harlan strolled in, easy grin, hat tilted back in that "I got this" swagger. Took a big old spoonful because leaders lead from the front. 10 seconds later, the man who'd stared down 3 wars was diving across the bar, muttering in the sink's faucet flow. "I have a medal from the president, and I'm about to be cooked by stew." Captain Elias Thorne, Minnow's unflappable CO, took one polite bite. Moments passed, face unreadable like granite, a single tear. Traitor that it was leaked from his eye as he went rigid as a flagpole, and spent the next 5 minutes leaning against the bulkhead, whispering through clenched teeth. "Nope, nope, still nope," while fanning his mouth hard enough to power a small turbine, eyes now leaking like a sieve. And finally, shy, reserved XO Jackie Roberts. The woman who apologizes to furniture took the tiniest, most polite micro-spoonful imaginable just to be supportive. The reaction was apocalyptic in its politeness. Her face went from library pale to emergency beacon red in a heartbeat. Her eyes went dinner plate wide. Saliva glands kicked into overdrive. You could hear the sloshing. She tried to speak, managed only a strangled squeaks, then bolted upright so fast her chair flew backward. Thoughts raced behind those huge eyes at light speed. "This is fine. This is fine, oh stars, it's climbing my sinuses. My tongue is trying to escape through my ears. Why is everything vibrating?" She attempted a dignified walk to the milk, tripped over the still-bouncing Sparky, windmilled, landed flat on her back with a soft "oof," and lay there staring at the overhead lights. Whispering in a tiny, frantic, adrenaline-drenched voice thick with saliva, "I think my soul just noped out to file a different dimension. Somebody tell my childhood teddy bear I'm sorry for everything." Cookie, smug as sin, eyes still holding that impish grin, finally tasted his own creation. He took a very big gulp, exaggerated his tasting, smiling at the flavor. His tongue was midway across an exaggerated tasting action. That's when something with the heat of a supernova registered to his senses. He tried to maintain the show of enjoyment even as he turned the color of a stop sign, having an existential crisis. Sweat erupted like Old Faithful. He tried to say, "Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit," but it came out more like a strangled honk. He staggered, missed the faucet, painted the ceiling white with milk. Then, all pretense gone, dove headfirst into an ice cream tub and stayed there, boots kicking like a drowning man stomping the floor, while muffled screams echoed from the carton. Sparks held up the empty vial with shaking hands. "Cookie, you used the whole thing?" Muffled reply from inside the ice cream tub. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Roxy looking at the cutting board, seeing the evil, wrinkled grin of the pepper remnant. Then waved the remnant of habanero like evidence at trial. In a soft, saliva-filtered groan, "And these are habaneros, you evil bastards," Veshka whispered hoarsely. "Capsaicin plus tenfold multiplier. Broken midway by a weary, unintended grimace. This equals crime against sentient life." The galley dissolved into fresh howls of laughter, pain, and shared trauma. Hours later, in the corridor, XO Jackie Roberts, still blotchy, still hiccuping milk, voice raw, and adrenaline shaky, cornered Cookie clutching a small aerosol canister like it was the One Ring. "I, may have borrowed 3 drops for the armory," she whispered, eyes shining with manic, pain-fueled glee. "New non-lethal pepper spray. Calling it instant regret. 1 puff and a Dravex will sign over his entire bloodline. His ship and his favorite childhood toy just to make the burning stop." Cookie, wincing at the thought, whispered with a wink and a grin, "You're an evil lady, ma'am." Jackie just smiled as she blushed. She straightened, tried to look official, failed because her tongue was still 3 sizes too big. Also adding to the ship S-log, luminant essence is now Class A controlled substance in both galley and armory. Triple biometric, retinal scan, and maybe a priest. And requisition 50 gallons of ice cream marked medical emergency. Signed, XO Roberts, personal note, never ever trust Cookie again. All through the night, from every head on every deck, drifted the pain-drenched chorus, "I want ice cream! More milk, please." My tongue just seceded from the union. "Tell my bunkmates I love them, but I'm moving to a planet made of yogurt." While the mechanist target waited, unaware, tonight the corridors echoed the whispers of the universal sound of an entire fleet whimpering or praying for ice cream from inside the restrooms, all night long.